You think you're just relaxing, but you're slowly trading your future.
You don't notice it at first. It doesn't feel like a decision. It feels like rest, like a break, like something you deserve. You sit down for a moment, and that moment quietly stretches. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow, that today was just too much, that you'll get serious later. And nothing about it feels wrong. Because comfort doesn't look like failure. It feels safe, familiar, justified. But there's something subtle happening underneath all of this. Something that doesn't show up immediately. You're not just resting. You're slowly choosing what your future will look like, without realizing you're choosing it at all.
Comfort is not the problem. It's the relationship you build with it. Because the more often you choose what feels easy now, the more your brain starts to expect it. You begin to avoid anything that feels uncertain, anything that requires effort, anything that challenges who you are today. And slowly, your standards begin to shift. You stop aiming higher. You stop pushing yourself. You stop doing the things you once said mattered. Not because you don't care, but because discomfort starts to feel unnecessary. And your mind becomes incredibly good at justifying it. You tell yourself you're being patient, that you're waiting for the right time, that you're just recharging. But what you're actually doing is reinforcing a pattern. A pattern where your present comfort becomes more important than your future growth. The problem is, this trade is invisible. There's no alarm, no immediate consequence, no clear moment where everything breaks. It's just small decisions. Scrolling instead of learning, watching instead of building. Each one feels insignificant on its own. But together, they create something powerful. They shape your identity. You start to become the kind of person who avoids effort, who postpones change, who chooses comfort by default. And once that identity settles in, it becomes harder to break. Because now it's not just about what you do. It's about who you believe you are. And this is where it gets dangerous, because the longer you stay in this cycle, the more normal it feels. You stop questioning it. You stop noticing it. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months. And one day, you look around and realize things haven't moved. Not because you failed, but because you never really acted. The life you imagined, the version of yourself you thought you'd become, is still there, just further away. And the uncomfortable truth is, it didn't disappear overnight. It faded slowly. Every time you chose comfort over the version of yourself you wanted to build. What makes this even harder to see is that comfort feels productive sometimes. You tell yourself you're thinking, planning, preparing, but thinking without action quickly turns into avoidance. And preparation without movement becomes a loop you never leave. You convince yourself you're making progress because you're mentally engaged, but nothing in your reality actually changes. And over time, that gap grows between what you know you should do and what you actually do. That gap creates frustration, doubt, a quiet sense that something is off. But instead of facing it, you go back to what feels easier, back to comfort, back to distraction. And the cycle continues, more refined, more invisible, more convincing.
Breaking this pattern doesn't require a dramatic change.
It requires awareness. You need to start noticing the moments where you choose comfort automatically. The small decisions, the subtle delays, the quiet excuses. Not to judge yourself, but to see clearly what's happening. Because once you see it, you can interrupt it. You can choose differently. Not perfectly, not all at once, but intentionally. And that alone begins to shift everything. Because your future is not something that suddenly arrives. It's something you are building in small, almost invisible moments, like this. Every time you choose comfort without awareness, you are making a quiet trade. A trade between who you are now and who you could become. And the cost is not immediate. That's why it's so easy to ignore. But over time, it accumulates in missed opportunities, in unrealized potential, in a life that feels smaller than it could have been. The truth is, comfort is not dangerous on its own. But when it becomes your default, it slowly limits everything. So the question isn't whether you deserve comfort. You do. The question is, are you choosing it consciously, or are you letting it quietly shape your future for you? Because the difference between the life you have and the life you want might be hidden in the choices that feel the easiest today.